Hi, my name is David Siegel. This is a response video to Derek's fantastic Veritasium video on the ecosystem and YouTube. Now, Derek has been making Veritasium for several years. I'm a huge fan. I encourage everyone to go sign up, ring the bell, and subscribe to all his videos. Especially if you haven't seen it, please watch his video on the YouTube ecosystem. I am such a fan of all his videos, except for one, which I'm sure he knows which it is, and he'll rethink it and over time do more research and then put something better together, and I'm really looking forward to that. I have a challenge for him at the end. And this story that I want to tell about YouTube starts with my son's drawing of a shadow hunter. He's 10 years old, he makes drawings, and the shadow hunter is a good symbol for YouTube, because YouTube and large companies like Facebook, Google, and Twitter and others are hunting our shadows. They ask us to leave bits and pieces of us, data and information behind, and then they use that data, they hunt it down, use it, and restrict our choices so that we end up in their ecosystem as pawns, going from app to app, website to website, being the pawns in their ecosystem, because what runs their ecosystem is their algorithms. And their algorithms not only make choices but restrict choices. Their algorithms decide which of the 99.99999% of stuff we can't see and what to present to us. And that always comes down to a fine balance between what's good for us and what's good for their shareholders. And they're not going to do something that's bad for their shareholders. We know that, for example, we're worth, each active Facebook member is worth about $93 to Facebook. So if you take out the profit, that means they're selling our data to us, to advertisers, for about $60 or so. And advertisers have got to make that up, right? So we've got to spend more than about $120 just to make up the profits or to make the business deal work for those advertisers when we see Facebook ads. And all together, you can see that all of these ecosystems, which are often based on interruption advertising, are extracting thousands and thousands of dollars from us. And the whole thing is profitable because the algorithms show us not just what we want, but what is good for advertisers. And this is part of the algorithm that Derek didn't talk about much. To fix that, and where these sites are going, as Derek mentioned, is to more of a person-centric, a customer-centric world where we are in the center and they are trying hard to make us happy, and happiness, engagement, and satisfaction, and all these things they're trying to measure are where their algorithms are going. And still, this is a pop-up interruption advertising platform where they're hoping that, and these are just the ads that I saw when I visited Veritasium today, that Happio is happy about us and can put messages in front of us, and Studio 3T can get their message in front of us, and that maybe we click on it and try their free trial. Tableau software, actually started by an old friend of mine. Good companies, but they pop up interruptions and try to get us to modify our behavior long enough to make an impression, to get clicks, to sign up for their products and free trials and so forth. And the part of the system is that there are ratings, and we know that ratings in most systems are gamed, that your competitors and the people who are unhappy with your products are the loudest, and that about half of most ratings on most sites where there are ratings are gamed and are fake. They also use things like Net Promoter Score, which is a made-up single number metric of user preferences that means absolutely nothing, because they're asking us a hypothetical question rather than determining our in-context behavior. And still we are pawns in this fantastic system that they continue to try to refine. And not to put too fine a point on it, but when Derek is telling us fantastic things and we're learning a lot, companies are advertising and paying him his money that he uses to get great camera gear at B&H Photo and hire other people to help him and so forth. And it really pays for him to make a living. And that's true with all YouTubers who make any money on YouTube. Those little ads that no one ever clicks, those are the engine of commerce that drives everything, including the algorithm that helps us select what we want next. When you are using their algorithm and searching for Apple products on Amazon, you can find all Apple products on Amazon except one, except for the Apple HomePod, which competes directly with Alexa. And so you're not going to find or buy the Apple HomePod. In fact, you can buy HomePod accessories on Amazon, but not the HomePod itself, because they want to surface the Alexa suite of products to you instead. And that possibly is in retaliation for Apple making it so expensive to buy ebooks that you can't buy Amazon ebooks on the iOS platform because Apple wanted too much money and Jeff Bezos said no. So you have to buy your ebooks on Amazon and then transfer them to your Kindle reader on your iPad. You can't actually buy them in the store on the iPad itself. So this is just some of the corporate wars that we see when algorithms that are designed for shareholder benefit rule the earth. Apps are traps, and we have lots of apps in our lives, whether it's a website or an app on our phone. Apps hold our data. In these ecosystems, they hold all of our information. If you move, how many apps do you have to update your new credit card number or your new address? All of these companies hold your information, and I've written a book about this. The book is called Pull, and I recommend that people learn about the power of their personal data. Not that they make it and sell it to anybody, but that they use it for their own good, and that we have a choice to live in a world of apps or to create something new. And that's really what I want to talk about. Derek asked for what we think and what suggestions we may have. And my observation is that we are at what Eliezer Yudkowsky calls an inadequate equilibrium. We're all in this lake of social content right now, and we can't get over the hump and get the ride up to a much better place because the users, the viewers are here, so that's where the creators are, and the creators make the content, and that's where the users go. So this feeds on itself and keeps us trapped at a low-level, inadequate equilibrium that we could break out of if we can reimagine a better way of building the world. And that's what I want to talk about. Here is Shadowhunter looking at a new way of presenting our ecosystem to us. And it involves the person at the center. You will use a self-sovereign identity system to register yourself and create your own identity. That means that you make claims and say, for example, you were born on a certain date and you have a certain passport or certain driver's license, certain social security number, and you went to various schools and you worked at certain places, and those get verified claims. But this is your identity system. It's not government given. It's created by all the different aspects of your identity, and you maintain it. You may even maintain various personas for different purposes, some of which may be private or public. And in this new realm, we have not apps, but we have the world of offers. And in the world of offers, companies are always making offers at all times. An example I would give is Kayak. The Kayak website doesn't really care which airline you fly. They care that you can dial in, this is called parametric search, what you're looking for on what date and what kind of travel, and then they'll just show you the the search results, yeah, some of them are sponsored, but most of them are according to the preferences that you set. If you care most about price, then you'll see the lowest price first and so forth. And they've kayakized the data so that it's all compatible and we can compare apples to apples. In fact, some friends of mine are building a new app for doing that for prescriptions, where you'll look on a map and see the same prescription at different pharmacies at different prices. And that's the algorithm we want in general. We want to be able to compare on our terms and not on corporate algorithm terms. And so we can imagine a world of content, conversations, transactions, offers, recommendations, services, and engagement that are all on our own control, and that all belong to us, where we hold our personal data, and it doesn't sit on corporate servers. We use it to benefit ourselves when we want to make a transaction, when we want to search for something, but we have the algorithm and not large corporates. We own the algorithm. So how would that work? Well, that is called your personal data locker. And that's what shadow hunters don't like, but that's the new foundation for an entirely new world of pull. Now, in this world, and you might encounter a sea monster as you're going along the journey with me. In this world, you have access to your personal data. It's yours. You make it, you manage it, and your system helps you get the most out of it. Rather than seeing a lot of pop-up advertising, you take advantage of all your health and home information, your assets and liabilities, your money and all your investments. You have them. They're not at brokers. They're not at intermediaries. They're not with third parties. You have the assets, and you have your purchases, music and movies, travel, education data, although we have to blow up education and do something completely different. Work, information, friends, and preferences all live in your personal data locker, where you're in control of it. Now, we know very well that no one wants to manage his own personal data. That's silly. That's only for a tiny percentage of the population. What people want is they want to hire an algorithm themselves to manage it, and that algorithm would be available I've got some notes from an economic class I have to skip over, would be in the algorithm marketplace, so that you, with your personal data, you own it, you have the private keys to it, so it's all encrypted, so no one can see it except you because you have the keys. And we hire algorithms in the algorithm market. It's not Siri, it's not Alexa, it's a competitive algorithm marketplace where we can bring an algorithm to our personal data lockers and use that to find more data, services. This would be, for example, comparison engines and so forth, vendors, find goods and services, even work with institutions and government, because we have our title deed to our home, our ownership of all our assets, our licenses, our registrations, all of that lives here, and we work with all these vendors to give it to them on an as-needed basis. This is the principle of least privilege, where when you buy something or interact or transact, you give them only the smallest pieces of information necessary to make the transaction, and in many cases you restrict them from any further use of that data. And this is a very different world from the better YouTube world. As YouTube makes continued enhancements and goes to more real-time thumbnail evaluation data, I think we might be better off with an algorithm marketplace where services like YouTube or like video feeds, we could host our own videos on our own servers. We might pay a little bit, but we're not paying in advertising because advertising costs money and it is expensive. And we all host our own information and other people can host it for us, but we pay a little bit as we go. So this is more of a subscription world than an interrupt-driven advertising and predictive analytics world. And that should make us a lot happier, because you would be at the center of that universe and you would keep looking for improved algorithms, improved results, improved outcomes for yourself. You can measure yourself how your algorithm is doing, and if you don't like it, fire your algorithm. Give it the boot and get a different one. In fact, you could easily have dozens of algorithms managed with a meta algorithm that watches over everything and keeps track of all the accounting and all the performance, and might even switch algorithms on the fly and help you get a better rate for energy during the day than in the middle of the night. Your algorithms, this active competitive marketplace for algorithms, changes everything from an interruption, advertising, constraint-based model to the world of offers and possibilities that open up when you really are in control of your personal data. Now, this all ends with the forest fire dragon, who wants to torch most of these business models and start a forest fire that creatively destroys most of these small number of large companies that make our decisions for us. And that's what I want to do. I want to start that fire. So I'm not so good at YouTube. I don't have fancy equipment, but I do have a new YouTube channel and I'm interviewing people. And my first interview is with Robin Hanson, a very smart economist, and I've got an interview with him on how we can reshape, rethink education, and another one on how we could reimagine governance. I have a website called cuttingthroughthenoise.net, and my channel here is called Cutting Through the Noise. I do care if you subscribe because I don't really want a lot of social numbers, but I need them to write a book. And so if you actually read books, if you're one of the people who likes to read a book, I do need social numbers for that to get a book deal. I've written 5 books before, but this algorithm has infected publishers as well, and they'll only give me a book deal if I have enough subscribers. So please subscribe to Cutting Through the Noise. We have a newsletter as well, and a daily blog, and a weekly interview that I invite Derek to join me on. I know you don't do interviews, Derek, but I do, and I'm looking for smart people to have conversations with. So if you'll respond to me, I'm David at cuttingthroughthenoise.net. I would really be pleased to talk with you, not so much about how to make videos and get things to go viral, but about really changing the world, and especially get your views on how we can change science education, because we know from research that even videos and textbooks and lectures and homework assignments don't really work. What really works is engaging with the material and working with it, applying it, and we can go beyond that. What if we could create an entirely new platform that wasn't YouTube, that was really for the purpose of actually learning? Well, that's what I'd love to talk with you about, Derek. And in the meantime, please, everyone, subscribe to Derek. Come check out my little channel, and I hope to see you again every week with a new interview. I'm David Siegel for Cutting Through the Noise.